and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm Anna Green and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks and training on network marketing done right. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. Hi, how are you all today? Welcome. I am here today, sat in my office having a brew that I've nearly finished and thought I would come on here and have a chat. So one of the questions that I've been asking on my socials this week is, if you could tap into the brains of the best direct sellers and network marketers in this industry, what would you ask them? What would be those top questions that you think, do you know what, I want those golden nuggets. I want those exciting, life-changing, business-changing thoughts and processes and ideas and things that went on that they can pass to me so that I can have that success too. And I'm doing this for a reason. I want to be able to, one, share those things with you from my personal experience. Two, get guests on my podcast that can give the help and support and answer those questions from somebody else's point of view. And thirdly, I want to explain to you the value of surrounding yourself by people who have done what you want to do, who are willing to share those things, who are open and willing to help and excited about your business as much as you are about your business, but at the same time have no vested interest, that aren't going to earn from the progress you make, that are just there to do it because they want to support other network marketers as part of a group. And this is exactly what my mastermind does. The RISE and IGNITE Mastermind that launched on the 1st of October, they are that space where I share all the things that I've learned when you ask the questions, those questions that you need to know to move to that next level, those questions that you want to know from those big network marketers out there. But they do as well, and they're willing to share it from their point of view and their experience, and it is just phenomenal. It really is. So one of the questions that was asked, which I found the most fascinating and made me really think about my business and where I've been, was Joe's question. So Joe asked, what's the biggest mistake you made that you learnt from? She then went on to say, we've all made mistakes and it's learning from them that's important. And it so is. The one thing that we do is we look at these people who have been massively successful in the industry and you go, depending on, your mood, it's all right for them. They've got it easy. They know how to do this. They are absolutely smashing it. They've got the network, they've got the skills. It's just so easy for them. Well, the majority of the time, no, it's not. They're just further on their journey than you. Yes, they might be full of confidence now. Yes, they might be with this massive audience and this massive team, but they weren't always there. They started off at exactly the same point you did. They might have been more driven. They might have had less confidence issues. They might have a little bit of business acumen. But in my case, I didn't have any of those things. I didn't know how to sell or build a business or anything like that. I had no clue. And the majority of those people who have got to the top had no clue at one point as well. They learned how to do it. The other thing to remember is that they haven't had that straight line, that perfectly even ride up to the top where they are now or where they got to. They didn't. You might think that they did, but they didn't. They had ups and downs. They had leaders who came in and absolutely smashed it. They had leaders that left. They have people who ghost them. They have people who kidnap. They've had people who've let them down. They've had issues with their own business. They've run out of customers at some point, probably. They've struggled for leads for recruiting, probably. They have those same things. It's what they do with the situation they're in and where they go and the decisions they make that get them to the top or hold them stuck. And this is why I do what I do, because it's so important that you don't hold yourself stuck for whatever reason. You ask the questions, you get the support, you invest the time or the money or the energy into building this business where it is that you want to go. And it is key. And they've done that. They have invested the time and the energy and the learning and the money and the whatever else it's taken them to get to where they have got to. And it's so key to remember that, because it's not all right for them. They've just done the do. They failed so many times, it's unreal. So back to Joe's question, what was the biggest mistake you made that you learned from? I want to answer that today, because I want to show you that not everybody has this perfect. There are ups and downs. There are mistakes to be made. We all make them. And I made some crackers and I learned from them. So let me take you back to me as a newish leader. I had a lovely team. The majority of them didn't come to trainings. They didn't engage with me. They didn't put the sales on, but the few that I had did, and we had a really lovely community together. I was very good at inspiring. I've got a lot of yellow in my personality, for those of you that do colour personality things. So I am good at motivating and inspiring people. And I could do that bit. I had no experience of being a leader. I had no experience of leading others to be a leader. So when I had 2 or 3 people within my team all wanting to get to that next level, you know, I was so excited, so excited. So these 3 people, really lovely people, all very different people, different personalities, different lifestyles, different abilities, but they all wanted leadership. The first one, she had a family, she had another job, she was a local hairdresser, so she had a lot of things going on. She wanted leadership so that she could earn more money and go on this amazing trip that was put on for us. And I wanted it for her too. We both wanted to go on this trip. It was going to be so exciting. That's what she was going for. So we set her on her way to go and find the people, to build a business. Off she went, obviously with my support. The second lady, she was a full-time worker in a hospital. She didn't have much time. She had no kids, but she had health issues. She wanted leadership. She wanted leadership so she could cut her hours at work because it was making her stressed. We did the same. We budded together, all 3 of us. Away she went. You know, she was on it. She was doing it. It was so exciting. She was going to get this leadership. Third lady, exactly the same. Going to do it. I want to do this. She was a stay-at-home mum. She lived really local to me. She used to come around for coffee, but she didn't really get on with the other 2, so we sorted her separately. Anyway, to cut a long story short, all 3 of them made leader, which I was quite surprised by, to be honest, because I just didn't think it would happen. And these 3 people, the first one, the one that wanted the holiday, she made leader. She made it by the skin of her teeth. Thinking back now, I think she fudged it, but she wanted it and she wanted to go on that trip. She got to leader and then she stopped doing. And she stopped doing, totally stopped contacting us. She took herself away from everybody else. She wouldn't pick up the phone. She wouldn't talk to her team. She got to leader. She'd achieved her holiday. Bam, done. She'd achieved what she wanted to do. There was nothing else she wanted out of the business. She went on that holiday, came back, quit. The second one, she was with me for a while. So she built a business. She built her team. She promoted out as a team leader. She was so excited. She potted along. She struggled to maintain every month. She was that leader who was always just missing the activity, and then every 3 or 4 months she would pop back on and make sure it was all done. She never really did anything else with it, and 18 months later she dropped back to consultant. It was too stressful for her. It wasn't her thing. She couldn't, once she got to that leader stage, great, amazing. She got to that leader stage, but there was nothing to keep her going. She'd achieved the thing. Everything then just felt really hard, and she'd lost the drive. She'd lost the drive for recruiting. She'd just, it was a shame. But lovely lady, still in contact with her now. And then the third one, she made leader, and unfortunately, life happened. Life happens with people. Hubby got unwell, they moved away, the business took a back burner. Within 6 months, she wasn't a leader either. And for me, I blamed myself. My biggest mistake was to blame myself. I'd got 3 leaders. I was really close to promoting out to, it was 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels up from where I was a year before. And I just felt it was all my fault. Why hadn't these people just flown with it? It must be something I've done. It must be something I've said. And it massively knocked my confidence. I felt like I'd let them down. I felt like I'd failed. I felt like I couldn't promote any more leaders out because I wasn't capable of doing it. I felt I'd not supported them well enough. And it was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. I'd got this team of people who I just didn't know what to do with anymore. I'd completely lost my confidence. I mean, completely. And these 3 people who had dropped off leadership, just that was it for me. I thought, what's the point? I might as well just stick doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to stick doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to look after my team, and I'm going to bring people in, and I'm going to sell the things, and that's it. Because obviously I am not meant to be a leader of leaders. It's just too difficult. And I sat in that place for quite some time. And my biggest mistake was sitting in that place and thinking that it was my fault. Yeah, you can inspire somebody to want to do something. Yeah, you can give them all the support and training that you can possibly give them. You can be there for them. You can help them. You can give your time and energy, and you can help them as much as you possibly can, but you can't make them do the things. You can't make them into you. You can't expect them to want the same things as you. I didn't understand that not everybody wants the same thing as me. Not everybody wants to build a big business. I didn't understand why they were struggling so much. I mean, the lady who had become leader for the trip, for the holiday, she got what she wanted out of the business. That was what she wanted. And she didn't ignore me because that she hated me or I'd done something wrong. She just didn't know how to say, well, I've done it now. There's nothing else I need from this business. Thanks, bye-bye. She just didn't feel she could say that. And I know this now because years down the line, me and her have had a chat about this. And I said, I thought you hated me. I thought you absolutely despised me. And I sat with that for ages because I'm a people pleaser. You know, I freely admit it, I am. And she said, no, it's just, I didn't know what to say to you. I felt like I'd let you down because you wanted this just as much as I wanted this at the time. But then you wanted so much more for me that I didn't want for myself. And I just didn't understand that. The second person, again, you know, it wasn't me. It was circumstance. She got to where she wanted to get to, and she just didn't have the drive and the oomph to keep the team going. Yeah, it's probably partly due to the fact that I didn't maybe inspire and motivate her enough to want to go for the next thing. Maybe I didn't have the skills to help her develop her team. But that's not my fault. You know, I was learning too. She was a self-employed business owner, just like I was. If she wanted it, she could have driven for it as well, you know, but she didn't. She wasn't in that right space. She didn't feel confident enough. In the same way that I was sat there after these 3 leaders had left going, oh no, woe is me. This is horrendous. It's all my fault. I failed. She was sat there probably doing the same thing. Oh no, I've got these leaders, I've got this team, I don't know what to do with them, they're all leaving because they don't want it as much anymore, maybe I've pushed them too hard and I don't know how to bring any more in. Something was missing. And now I understand what that is. After promoting out a lot of leaders, I understand what that is. I understand what happened with her. And I understand when you guys, if you know, those of you out there listening to this, when you reach that leader stage and you've got to leader and then you don't bring any more people in. I know what is happening. I know why you're doing it. And I get it now. And I can move people past that easier than I could before if they're willing to do the things. So maybe it was slightly me, but it's not me that's to blame in the situation. It's just circumstance. You know, she tried her hardest. She wanted to do it. She just couldn't maintain it. And that's okay. She went back to consultant and was perfectly happy, and her team were perfectly happy. And, you know, but again, it's not me and it's not her fault and it's nobody's fault. But I found that a big learning curve. And then the third lady, again, life happens. And I, again, thought it was me. She should be able to make this work around whatever else is going on, because that's what we're told. This fits around everything. But it only fits around everything if you want it to fit around everything. She didn't want it to fit around everything anymore. She had other priorities. And that's not my fault. So my biggest mistake was thinking that any of this is my fault. You cannot control other people. You cannot expect them to do things that you want them to do if they don't want to do it. If their goals are very different from yours, their life is very different from yours, their abilities are very different from yours. And me taking this on as my responsibility and me feeling like I'd failed and stopping my team building, you know, the leadership development throughout my team for so long, that was a mistake. That was a huge mistake. What I should have done was, you know, wallow in self-pity for a few minutes, pull myself together and think, right, actually, is this true? Is it true that it's my fault? Is it true that I failed? Is it true? And no, it's not. But what we do is we look at these big leaders who have these big teams. They've never lost a leader, in my head. They've never lost a leader. Of course they have. Of course they have. They've never had anybody leave. Of course they have. But it's not shown in that wider team company thing very often that people fail forwards. So the biggest mistake that I made was not pulling myself out of that enough and sitting down and saying, actually, is this true? And it took for me to bring somebody in who wanted to be a leader, and it was a good few years later, that pulled me back to, yeah, I can do this. Because I'd found somebody who wanted that as much as I did. And looking back now, if I hadn't have waited for that person, I'd have had a good few more leaders under my belt by that time. I'd have been hitting those top levels of the company so much earlier had I not just stopped and gone, nah. We've always got to be looking at how we're running our businesses. And when something doesn't happen that you think should, or when we make a mistake, or when we're sat in a place of self-pity or feeling like we've failed, we need to sit down and look at this like a business owner and go, actually, right, where am I now? How am I feeling? Yeah, those feelings are valid. Those feelings are valid, but is it actually true what you're feeling right now? Is it helpful? How can I get around it? And it's that how can I get around it and that growth mindset attitude that I teach now, because it is so important to not sit in that place. It's so important to keep moving, because business is up and it's down, and it's up and it's down. And I was in that place of down, in this pit of, this is a failure, this is never going to work. And I came out of it far too late. Late's the wrong word, but I can't think of the word that I need to use for that situation. I left it too long. I could have had my little bit of hippo time, like Paul McGee would say, best-selling author, amazing books from him. I should have got out of that and said, right, come on, pull yourself together, Anna. They didn't want it enough. They've got what they wanted out of it. It's not for them. It's not my fault. That's okay. I am now going to go and work with those that want it. And not understanding that was my biggest mistake. So I hope this has helped you in some way. I hope it's been of value. For those of you that don't know me, the success story is that within 2 years of me promoting out that new leader, the 4th leader, I made it to the top of the company, absolutely smashing it. Yes, I had ups and downs along the way. Yes, I had a massive down after I'd made the top of the company, but I made it back. There are always ups and downs. There's never just this one up and down. There's never one feeling like you've failed. There's lots, but every single time you do it, you get yourself back up faster. You move on to the next thing. You pick yourself up, dust yourself down, learn from those mistakes and move on. And that's what successful people do. But when you're not feeling successful, you forget this. When you are in that little pit of blah, you forget this. This is when it's the most important time to remember it. Yeah, I'm at rock bottom. There's actually no further down I can go. Well, there probably is, but I'm not going to go there. What's the only way now? It's up. You've got to go up. Because what's the point in sitting there? We've got one life. We've got one chance at this. Let's get ourselves back up and go again. And when you're at that place of rock bottom, that's where the excitement's going to start building. That's when you need to pick yourself up, dust yourself down and go again, because this is the start of something amazing. So if you are in the place right now of rock bottom and feeling like your business is going absolutely nowhere, this is the place right now that you are going to start making that different change, that different trajectory. I can hardly ever say that word. And you're going to go up, because what other option have you got? And when you are at rock bottom, you don't see that the step out is literally just there. You just need to take the step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And yeah, it won't be instant success, but it will be getting you in the right direction. And you'll wonder why you stayed in that pit so long, just like me. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I will see you all later.